take just a minute and explain to you this. This is a thank you note, and it's wonderful. It's from a friend and a colleague and somebody I admire a great deal. I love having it. It's apparently handmade, and it's handwritten inside. Boy, I know I like to get the emails that say thank you. I appreciate that. But when somebody goes to this special part of writing and sending a handmade and a handwritten card, it just matters so much to me. But here's the question. How can you take something like the act of writing thank you notes and make it much more important than it sounds like? One is with a great story. Imagine this. You're in Hawaii. You're flying over the Pacific Ocean in a tiny jet by yourself. It's a one-person plane. You are flying at night across the Pacific Ocean. Somewhere down there is the ship that you are required to land on. During the refueling operation, you've probably seen this, where the one plane flies over the other and they connect with a tube and they refuel that jet. Somewhere in the process of that, some of that jet fuel got inside the cockpit with that airman, and it caused him to go temporarily blind. So now we have a problem, don't we? You're flying above the Pacific Ocean in the dark. You have to land on a ship and you're blind. What does he do? He does what airmen have always done. Is he reaches out to his colleagues and his friends on board, and he explains to them the situation, and they say, "We've got you. We've got you, sir. We know you've landed in the dark. We know that you've landed in extreme weather. We know that you've done this 1,000,000 times. We are going to be your eyes on the ground. We're going to walk you through this piece by piece and get you back here safely." And they do. And the airman lands safely, and as he comes out, there's a big celebration, and his eyesight eventually returns, and later that night, he goes to his bunk, and he starts writing thank you notes. But he doesn't write the thank you notes to the people on board the ship that saved him. Instead, he writes the thank you notes to the families of the people that saved him. And he writes to them, and he says, "Now you probably don't know this, but your daddy today saved my life." And he says, "Every day your daddy does some of the most dangerous, difficult, and rewarding work in the world. But today I would not be alive if it wasn't for what he did." And he explains how it happened. And then he says, "I've got 2 children at home. Because of what your dad did today, I'll go home and spend time with them again. And if your daddy hadn't been such a hero, I wouldn't be here." Now, what do you think that did? So the next time that airman goes home, instead of his children racing up and hugging a daddy, they're racing up and they're hugging a hero, because this airman took time to write that thank you note. So you see what we did? We took the thank you note and attached it to a fantastic but true story. And now we've made it into something that is much greater in everybody's mind that's in our audience. So that's what we look for. Look for the ordinary that you've got to deliver, and then find a great story. Connect those two, and you'll make that worth so much more than it had been before the story.